I'm calling to order, oops. Are we going on record? Are we on YouTube as well? Yeah. Okay. Oh, thank you so much. The Charter Revision Commission meeting on Friday, June 27th, 2025 at 10:01 a.m. to order. Welcome, everybody. We have a quorum, and our mighty commission of 7 is now in 6 because Dr. Tina has moved to Paris, and not Paris, Virginia, not Paris, Kentucky, but Paris, France. So we are now down to 6. All right. Irene, oh, I'm sorry. Michelle, would you do the roll call?
Chair Root,
Here.
Vice Chair Kolianis, Mr. Chair Panning,
Here.
Mr. Seaman,
Here.
Mr. Kuskudis, Ms. Jennings.
Here. Okay, well, our first order of business is approval of the minutes, but I want to just take a minute and say thank you all for coming and helping us wrap up this last piece of business. Okay.
Can I make a motion to approve the minute as listed in the agenda from 2024, July 8th, July 15th, July 22nd, August 26th, August 28th, November 8th, and December 4th?
Second.
Is there a second?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Can the record show that Mr. Kuskudis has joined us?
Grand entrance.
Was there?
Grand entrance.
Yeah. Well, it's stealthy. You're in black. All right. Can we have a roll call on the vote? Oh, I'm sorry. Are there any discussions, any corrections to the minutes as they stand? I have to say, after reading them all, we did a lot of work. That's all I'm going to say. Well, we did a lot of work on this. All right. So can we have a roll call for approval of these minutes, please?
Ms. Jennings,
Yes.
Mr. Kuskudis,
Yes.
Mr. Seaman,
Yes.
Mr. Chair Panning,
Yes.
Vice Chair,
Yes.
Nope. Chair Root. Thank you.
Okay, great. The second item on the agenda is the election results. Has everyone looked at them? Because if they have, I'll go ahead and skip it. But if we haven't or we want to discuss it, I wanted a minute to be able to do that, or a period of time.
The only comment I would make is I think 90% of what we had requested change was adopted.
Yes, it was.
So it shows the quality of what this board did and the work that was done. So unless anybody has any comments, I just
Well, just to follow up on Mike's comments, I think it reflected that we were in tune with the community. And I do have a follow-up question on one conflict, and an Andy question, I guess.
Okay, can you speak more into your mic? Because I'm having a hard time hearing you today.
That better?
Okay, can you just speak louder for me?
Yeah. Okay, I noticed that on, maybe I'm not reading it right, but on 14 and 15, questions 14 and 15, it looks like we created this conflict.
Yes,
So how do we resolve that?
the one with the greater number of votes.
If you, with 14 and 15, if you went to the last section of that, it was,
It's a simple one.
It
was,
simple enough.
That's how we interpreted it.
it was adjudicated in, I believe you wrote these notes, whoops, right? Mr. Salzman?
What are we looking at? I don't know.
The resolution section?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Resolution, no. Irene, which one are we?
Irene
looking
did that? All right, so, right.
at? Yeah, no, Irene,
Irene did that. Okay. So
It was done by the majority, whoever got the larger number.
So was the conflict, because when I was reading this, it's like, all right, these two got passed as well as the Board of Commissioners' recommendations. Is that the question you had?
Well, the question is, it's just a plain conflict. One says that there is no residency requirement. The other one says there is a residency
Right.
requirement.
Right,
So
well,
I don't think, in due respect of
That's
our
okay.
attorney,
You don't even have
I
to
don't,
have respect.
I don't think, I have respect in it, but I just don't agree with your opinion. On this item,
I got you.
their interpretation is that the greater number of votes is thing, and I don't, they both passed by a majority of the vote.
But they
voters.
conflict with
So
each other.
there is a conflict. I think it should be resolved in some higher thing than just saying. Really? Okay.
can you speak into the microphone, Irene, so it can be recorded? Thank you.
Yes.
What I was saying was on amendment and closing that on a vote.
Okay.
Hold it.
No, it's all right, Irene.
Okay.
Okay,
My
Andy, you're
issue,
passed.
I'm going to piggyback on Mr. Terrapini's comments, because my issue is the way that charter amendment statement was, it looked very similar to what ours was on the first one, and it didn't really address not including the department heads.
You don't write it that way.
I know you don't write it that way, but it leads to an ambiguity because the general public doesn't know what they're voting for. Yes.
I don't agree with that.
But that's a different comment.
Right.
Yeah, I'm
Well,
not
the reason is, I mean, it might have gone out well discussed in other city information, but we have a large number of people in the city that don't get water bills, so they would never have seen that discussion.
Well, I mean, they've given a charter explanation, and
Yes.
so I yield to Irene and to Mr. Salzman that the charter says the greater number of votes wins.
So
Well,
which one?
from my perspective, they were in agreement.
Residency requirement.
Here it is. It says right here, if conflicting ordinances are approved, well, this is under that general section. At the same election, that ordinance receiving the greater number of affirmative votes shall prevail to the extent of such conflict. Under initiative and referendum, section 30.
Pretty clear.
Yep. You thought we made it up.
14 and 15 on the residency requirement.
Did ours have more votes or
No, there's 3. That's okay. So now there's no residency requirements for any employee. That's what we're telling the community, Irene. Yeah,
Right.
the 4 charter officials.
City manager, assistant city manager, fire chief, and police chief.
Okay. That's the end of my comments.
So do we need to make a motion to ratify?
No, we don't. I just wanted to make sure everybody saw the results of our work. Mr. Terrapini, are you withdrawing your thoughts as far as needing it to be resolved by a higher power?
Oh,
They had the higher power. the
Yeah, they
charter.
did. I still think it's confusing.
Well, it is, but they resolved it for me.
Anyway, so that's that.
It seems most of the downvotes were for the dollar, increasing the dollar amounts.
For everything, yeah, the two,
which I was kind of, yeah.
That is correct.
the approval, the two approving for the city manager and then the real estate value. Yeah, and the 5-year planning, so poor Renee is gonna work harder. Okay, so that takes care of that. Is there any other discussions? Anyone else have any other comments? All right, well, thank you. Okay, now for the guts of our meeting here. Review of the Charter Revision Commission's recommendations to the Board of Commissioners. Before Mr. Salzman starts, Irene had in her package a summary recommendations of board of directors, which looks a lot like what we had, but there were some omissions, et cetera. I don't know if any of you went back to the original. I guess, I apologize. Would you, we get 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more copies of the, or 2 for you guys if you want it. This is the original one. We've got 2 sections that were omitted, one that was combined and one that had a significant change, and 2 with missing sentences. So I thought that as we review this, it would be good to know what our original words were, so we had that. That was the July 22nd one, yes. Just the first page? Just the first page.
Yes,
Yeah, I had that.
Good catch.
that's true.
Yes.
Was it Go-Am now?
That's go.
Instead of go Max, it's go Am, I guess. Okay.
So, well, Michelle's not doing that. I would like to say that it's been a pleasure. I think everybody, spoke from their heart and what their true beliefs were, even though we sometimes didn't agree on everything eye to eye. The document that we presented, like Mike alluded to, was well received by the community, and so it shows that we, talked things through and came to a good analysis. And now that so much time has passed from when we did this initial thing, I've had time to think about this particular thing today, and I'm not sure that we were tasked with anything other than reviewing the charter and to make recommendations to change the charter. And I don't know how well this will be received. And so I'm going to call it a day. I don't think that, this is just my personal beliefs. I don't think that we're tasked with making recommendations to the board on other things, although if anybody else does, that's fine, but
I don't have a dog in this fight.
Me either. So that's what I'm saying.
But I'm going to say, we had a number of discussions
We did.
that we decided that items would be better off submitted to the Board of Commissioners as recommendations rather than as a charter change item. So that's why we're back here to readdress whether or not, what we do and
I think that's an accurate reflection of the history of what the committee did or the board did. But I'm saying, I've had a change of heart on it. And although the recommendations are good, I just don't think they're going to be well received. And so I'm going to say thanks for letting me join you.
well, before you run off, let's poll the rest of us and see if we still have an urgent need to go forward with this.
Okay.
Okay? Yeah, I don't want you to quit in the middle of our meeting, even though I don't think this is going to take very long. Okay?
I have to.
Yes.
I may differ with John because I think not only are we on the charter review, but we're also citizens. Things sometimes that as a citizen you'd like to see your city embrace. Okay, and one glaring that I see, and this is actually for the benefit of the city, is the marine commerce. Okay, and whether or not the city, there's a lot on a commissioner's plate. And for us to be able to bring attention to certain items that we think that the commission or staff should look at or take special interest, I think by recommendation, I think it doesn't benefit this board, but it benefits the city as a whole. So when we sat here for all those months hammering everything out, it was actually like a brain session where we sit there and see what the community may have needed or some focus or direction. And it all is a recommendation. And I go back to the marine commerce as an ideal example of what we could bring to the attention of the commissioners, that they could maybe have a special focus, develop additional marine opportunities, because that would in particular, everybody thinks we've gone away from being a fishing village that has a commercial fishing industry to more of a tourist location. And I think that's detrimental to the community, that we are deemed a tourist location and not a working port, as an example. So expansion of the marine opportunities, that's just one suggestion that was on here that I think we need to look at as far as presenting, as far as our recommendation to the board.
Yeah. Mike, everything on there, everything you said, being well thought out, having a dialogue about it and the recommendations is all true. I mean, I think I helped write the first waterways of use and safety, and having to do with the working port, and hired the first harbor master who was a seasoned seaman who could, in an emergency, jump on a boat and move it to save other boats. So I'm all in on the recommendations. I think there's too much opportunity with this commission to be accused of overreach. So while I think the recommendations are good, if you guys want to send them, that's fine. I'm just saying, I've rethought it for myself, and for me, it's just a little bit of overreach. Not that I don't agree with the recommendations. I do agree with the recommendations.
But boards aren't, commissioners aren't forever. And that's why
Oh, we'll revisit.
I don't want to wait 5 years to remind them.
Hey, listen, it was great, and I enjoyed all the dialogue and the back and forth, and I think we did a lot of good as testimonied by the electorate. And
Thank
it's
you.
always fun to spar with Andy.
Well, we still have a quorum even with Mr. Terrapini's departure. Does anybody else have issues to that level that they're going to depart?
I don't have issues, but I would say, I think it's partly how we couch this when it's
Yeah.
presented. And I think we do have a mayor at the moment who was very involved in our process here also. And I think he's expecting us to come with
I agree. So,
these
I mean,
things.
if we want to take just a minute and talk about Mr. Terrapini's observations, I mean, we have the option of just putting this forward as, recommendations from 4 people. We can do that personally. On the other hand, I think that since this came out of our deliberations, I think it's important to say, oh, by the way, these are things that we think we would recommend you take under consideration.
I think recommendation from a person as opposed to a body. I think the body itself of this board has to, if that's what they want to do, has to move forward with a recommendation and not an individual.
I'm with Mike on this.
Okay, and
Mike, I was
Merle?
with your other comments also.
Agreed.
I think a lot of these things pertain to a lot of what's in front of the Board of Commissioners right now. I know that there was a lot of discussion about hiring a market company to rebrand because, sponging, more education about sponging, blah, blah, blah. And so Marine Commerce Committee would, kind of augment what they're trying to do, from a marketing point of view. So I think all of this stuff has, impact, and I think a recommendation from our group would just, put greater emphasis on it.
Agree. All right, so Mr. Terrapini's departed. Let's go ahead with looking at what Attorney Salzman has provided us. I will just start with a summary of the changes from before. The request to adopt a building height restriction ordinance has been omitted. Mr. Salzman, would you comment on why that paragraph was omitted?
I think it was just an oversight.
So that should be included back in?
Yes.
Okay.
I think any of the ones that are not in there, they might just be oversights on the document that I had,
Okay.
that I was looking at.
We just had a visitor come in. Let's provide him with paperwork.
And
If possible.
if possible, just thank you for the visitor since you are commissioner. Is it mind if I make a comment?
Go ahead.
To just give you, Mike, an idea where we're at. One of the things that we're discussing is, we've gone through this process and we belabored this a lot of months. And there are certain things that are outside of the charter, but that we discussed that we felt that as a recommendation to the commission to give it some thought in future planning, which is outside the scope of a charter, but would be, as far as where we're concerned, is the city should, whether it's the city's best interest or can the city do it, but that there should be some acknowledgement if in fact it is in the city's best interest to look at some of these things.
Right. And Mr. Commissioner, would you sit over here so we can see you? You're behind the podium for me. Thank you very much. Can you see him?
No, I can, I saw
Okay,
him there
good.
too.
Thank you. And thank you for your time coming here today. Yeah, that was a great summary. Thank you very much. Okay, so that was the first one. The last one on repair of the sidewalks, budget for the setup of plan for repair and future funding was also omitted.
Ironically, they're replacing the sidewalks in front of my buildings.
So we're there. The city's there.
They're moving forward.
So,
I'll end the plan.
yes, it's part of the plan. But that was our recommendation. Let's get going on this. All right. Was that omitted by oversight or
Yes.
was that omitted on purpose?
Nothing was omitted on purpose.
Okay, all right. Nothing. So,
We would not edit what the board wanted. If we just missed it, we missed it. I
okay, that's fine.
apologize.
There were two that were combined. One was request the city maintain CLG status and then follow the city's established guidelines when allowing changes to our local and national historic districts. Those two were combined to require the city to maintain CLG status and follow national historic guidelines for our local and national historic districts. I didn't have a problem with combining them, but I did want to point that out because of the difference. Any concerns? No? Okay, all right, so we accept that. There was one that had a significant change, which it said improve and expand public outreach to citizens to increase involvement in their city government. Consider an active recruiting process where critical skills to a board are mapped to citizens and then ask those citizens to serve. That's been changed to improve board efficiency. Consider expanding the use of juries for projects as used by the Public Arts Committee by other boards.
That's completely different.
That is completely different.
Yeah, and I think the scope of that discussion was that when we look at our citizen boards, was there are people in this community who have special skill sets. And having somebody sit on a board just because they're a resident, I'd rather see somebody with a skill set sit on a board than somebody with no skill set
Fill a seat.
to fill a seat.
Yeah.
And so if there's a recruitment, is to recruit somebody that has some skill sets for that purpose. And it actually makes a board run better. And not only does it run better, and I have found this in planning and zoning, is that when you vet a applicant, the questions that you're vetting the applicant on are actually material and important to the application process, and not somebody asking some austere question that really isn't relevant to.
This discussion is not whether or not that's important. It's to understand
was-
why that might have gotten omitted by our
And that's
staff.
why, and that was our intent.
Right. No,
with
and I
regard
think
to-
we need to include this back in.
Correct.
So we'll consider this an omission that would be included, Mr. Salzman?
Absolutely.
Okay. And then the question then that comes to our commission is whether we include their additional statement that says to improve board efficiency, consider expanding use of juries for projects as used by the Public Art Committee by other boards.
Having sat on the Public Art Committee, the use of a jury is in the Public Art Ordinance.
Okay.
So I don't know whether it exists in any other ordinance.
I'm not too inclined to think about using a jury because you could cherry pick your jurists.
Yes.
Well, not only that, public art is probably one of the few that's not quasi-judicial.
I know that, but being able to cherry pick your jurists takes, and so you don't want a commission to rely on the jury to make a decision. Not that they would,
Right.
but it's better to have a debate over issues than to have, because we elect our officials to make certain decisions and not a jury.
Yeah, I can't picture really how that would work, like in P and Z particularly.
Well, yeah, it wouldn't work because those boards are dealing with, legal aspect of their, particular, focuses, where art is kind of squishy.
Yeah, and you're
We're not, public art doesn't follow any laws per se. So
Right.
the thing is, the whole, jury idea is to, kind of take something away from the Public Art Committee, put it in an area of expertise of other individuals, and then bring that back to public art. So they don't have to obey any laws or rules or anything else.
Yeah, it just adds another level of bureaucracy that we probably just.
So what I'm hearing from the group is we would like to remove the statement that's been included in the recommendations because it didn't come from us.
Yep.
Okay, and we don't agree with, all right, so that's removed. Okay, so just so you know, I'm going through all these changes from our original, and then I will ask for a motion to incorporate all of those as our recommendations going forward. All right, so the next one was under allow P and Z recommendations to be included on the consent agenda. The last part of that statement got removed. Now, let me read the original, and I'll tell you what part got deleted. Allow P and Z recommendations to be included on the consent agenda to address better use of the Board of Commissioners, comma, P and Z applicants, comma, and staff time. And now this is the part that got deleted. If the application has staff and P and Z recommendation for approval.
I thought that was part of the,
Yeah,
that's the only way it's going to get on the consent agenda.
yeah, because one of the things that we discussed, and not to just look at the language, but look at the reasoning behind it is important, is when you have a recommendation for P and Z, you go to a commission meeting, and they have to make a whole new presentation for the whole new thing, and I think the commission in a consent item has the ability to take it off the consent agenda and discuss it. So to the extent there's no issue, rather than having the applicant have to make presentation at a P and Z and then go back and do it at the commission meeting, if they're non-issue matters, it makes the Board of Commissioners more time-saving and efficient to just pass it under the consent agenda than having to just spend another 45 minutes on another presentation.
And if it's not unanimous like that,
Yeah.
meaning staff and P and Z,
Yeah.
then it shouldn't go on
I know.
consent, right?
Yeah.
So I
So
think that,
we're in agreement.
Comment.
Oops, wait a minute, let me just finish. So I'm hearing right now, we're in agreement with deleting that second part. Is that what I'm understanding? Mr. Commissioner, would you like to say something?
Thank you. Thank you for all of what you're doing today. The question that I would have is if a commissioner does pull that consent agenda item, the applicant may not be there to defend themselves.
I would suggest that they should be there anyways.
Right.
Agreed.
But not necessarily having to make a presentation
Right.
if they're on the consent agenda, but understanding that they may, if it's pulled, they're going to have to make a presentation. but that's their fault if they don't show up.
Right.
But, you know, and to save you guys' time,
Oh, I agree. It's a great change. I'm just saying, as you
you just
know,
got to be prepared.
people don't show up to BOAs, people don't show up to P&Zs. They just think it's just a carte blanche.
And that's
So,
their fault.
yes, I understand. Just, we may need to just put that in as a disclaimer, whatever wording that we need to do before they apply.
I think if staff advise them, you're on the agenda, be prepared to
Yeah.
make a presentation, but you may not need to.
You may not, exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Commissioner. Okay, so we're going to go with that one. The next sentence that got deleted was on the section that said Charter Revision Commission recommends keeping Civil Service Board. The sentence that got deleted was appoint and maintain a membership for the Civil Service Board.
Mhm.
I know we went through that quite a bit.
Oh, we sure did.
We sure did, and that's why I
Okay.
was, yes. Mr. Salzman?
No, we're
Oh,
just,
okay. So I would recommend that we ask for that to be re-included. Are we in agreement?
Yeah.
All right, now, on the statement here with revitalize the Marine Commerce Committee, on our original, we said see summary, which was the second page. It's been, what's on the revised versions has, instead of see summary, it says charter requirement or ordinance. And I would like to see that charter requirement or ordinance deleted and go back to see summary, which is a separate, was the separate document here that we had summarized, what we wanted to see.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I don't mind it being a charter provision, but that's not part of our recommendation. That was not part of our recommendation.
All right, well, that's why this is,
Yeah.
this charter requirement ordinance has like shown up.
Yeah.
We were putting it forward as a recommendation.
I'd love to see it. I'd love to see it recommended as ordinance because we can't adopt ordinances.
Right.
Right.
But we could recommend that the commission, because it's a suggestion that they do this. So what's the use of having one, term of commissioners and a mayor do something, and then the next term does not and folds it, as opposed to if it was, so recommending an ordinance would require, you could disagree with it, would require the commission to at least have whether, Port Authority, things
Okay.
like that. And that's why,
right, we'd have to look at all those conditions.
So,
to make sure.
let's replace with this charter requirement or ordinance as recommend this be adopted as an ordinance?
as an ordinance.
Chair, I just realized why the document is different. I took a PDF and gave it to my assistant to put it in Word. That's why we're missing parts of it. I was like, what? I didn't make this.
And they translate it. So,
Right.
Yeah.
That's why there's things that are
PDF
missing.
translation.
I was
That's
like,
right, but
Is it an AI thing?
I'm wondering
Yeah,
what this improved board efficiency is.
I was like,
I don't know where that
that's
came
why
from.
that's why the terms are supposed to be exactly as the document that you presented today.
They
I
probably
was like,
Oh.
I don't understand how this is different. Why is it
In
different?
They probably used AI,
Yeah,
and if-
yeah.
and they're not,
Yeah.
it's not guaranteed to be accurate.
Yeah, in the future, if I'm creating documents, I always have a Word version.
Well, I think, I prefer to have it in everything in the
Yeah,
Word,
it's not a
right?
problem, and if I haven't
But I was
provided
just,
it, all you have to
that's
do
why I was
is
sitting over here
ask
going,
me
wait
for
a
it.
minute, that was in there. Why
Yeah.
is it that? Okay.
Okay, so, and then, okay.
Can I just make a
Yes.
sort of grammatical change under scope number
We're
5?
not there yet.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, so that's the first that's the first page on recommendations to Board of Commissioners. Is there anybody else that has a comment on that?
I want to pontificate a little bit since we have a commissioner here to repeat kind of what I said before you walked in.
Oh, go ahead.
The reason we had this discussion, okay, is because we are a working port. Tarpon Springs, the Anclote River is a working port. And even though there's a big tourist industry, I think going away from the working port aspect is detrimental to this community with regard to the fishing, the sponging, the shrimping, those things that draw residents here, and that sometimes we would lose our focus as to what the sponge docks actually is, and to spend more time, more focus on embracing or adopting opportunities to increase the marine, commercial marine opportunities that Anclote River provides. The other thing that's and I was going off a little bit of a tangent, is you've got the Pasco side. And as long as we are a commercial port, it may prevent or restrict, because the navigable waters are extremely important to the vitality of Tarpon Springs. And I know on the Pasco side, there were plans, I don't know if they're still in the works, to develop a recreational, if they've shelved it now, it may come back and rear its head later on. And this sort of would help the city of Tarpon Springs come in legally, in my opinion, to be involved in the decision-making process on the Pasco side, because it affects the commercial revenue and aspect of the Anclote River as far as it reflects Tarpon Springs. So expanding or making use or prioritizing, or in quotes, a commercial port, I think gives us a little bit more of a backbone or opportunity to defend ourselves in the event the character of the Pasco site changes. I think I don't know if I summed that up appropriately, but that's why, not just because of the vitality of increasing the commercial opportunities in the Anclote, but it as a safeguard to its future as a commercial industry. I don't know if you're involved in
Let's
marine.
poll. I mean, personally, I fully support your statement. Merle?
Yeah,
Support it?
absolutely.
Yeah,
And
and
Joan?
I also just wanted to throw something else in, just to reinforce more of what Mike just said.
With the branding?
If memory serves, Tarpon Springs is also considered a safe harbor. Merle, is that still correct? You know?
I believe so. I know the area where Bell Harbor is located is considered a hurricane hole by insurance companies, for
Right.
instance, and
Right.
stuff.
And the next one down, I think, is Tampa Bay. So if you're some sort of commercial venture out in the Gulf and you end up in a storm, you'd need the ability to come to Tarpon Springs, and that would also feed into what Mike just said about the navigable areas and keeping it open.
Because what you hear is in the shrimp boats, the fishing boats, whatever, when they become more difficult, not just because of the depth, okay, but when they become more difficult to maneuver, within the river, because you've got a zillion jet skis jumping your wake and stuff like that, they sometimes may choose to take their play to go somewhere else.
Right.
Whether it's dump their shrimp in St. Pete or fish in somewhere else, and that's why it's important for us to make it an important focus on the commercial industry here.
Well, and I think it may well actually make a difference to the Corps of Engineers as far as some of the government money needed to keep the port open and everything.
Yeah.
If money gets tight, they might cut some other places,
Yeah.
but with the commercial
And-
industry here, they won't.
Right.
And there are some interesting changes in the industry recently here with Florida Dock and Dredge has recently put in a new basin, and they have a 300-ton marine travel lift. I've heard, the largest marine travel lift on the west coast of Florida. So we are able to pull up to about 150-foot boats out with the travel lift now in the immediate area.
Interesting you said that. I think we lost some federal money because they didn't feel that we were commercial enough for dredging. And that's why the state had to kick in extra money, and the city, I think, may had to kick in money because we lost some federal revenue for the dredging. Y'all correct me if I'm wrong, but because we did not, they didn't feel we were more of a tourist location than a commercial port, and they give focus on a commercial industry
Right,
for
and
dredging.
Yeah.
So that's why.
Right, and as the city goes forward with their rebranding, I think having an item like this that they're chewing on, the Marine Commerce Committee, making that an ordinance, will keep it in their forefront that it's not just tourism, much more than that we provide in terms of services to others outside of Turpin. Yes, Commissioner, would you like to speak?
Sorry. I just wanted to add, in case not everybody knew, Dunedin shut down their jet ski launch along the causeway, and which is influxed, which is what you said, so much more to our boat launches. That's why you will see more jet skis around. I don't know whether they're going to reopen it or not. And the second thing, I don't know if you know that as a commission, we did investigate doing the dredging of the back areas because the last survey that we did was kind of obsolete, and it was also prior to the hurricane. So the hurricane disturbed pretty much all of the numbers. So we're having it redone to know where we need to put our money because
Dredging of the cuts.
yeah. Well, not just the cuts. I'm talking about all of the auxiliary anclote. So which actually what Jim Koulianis was speaking about behind his house, the Kremer Bayou, the Whitcomb Bayou, all of these have become in low tide non-usable. So we don't know how much. It hasn't been done, and nobody could even tell you whether it's 40 years, 50 years, or 60 years. It's not been done, period. So that's what I know it's about 1.5 to 2 years out from getting the report for then deciding on where we're going to dredge or what we could dredge financially. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you for your comment. All right, moving ahead. Well, I'm taking that we're replacing C summary in our original with recommend this be adopted as an ordinance. That's our recommendation. Yes, agree? Okay. And then,
Andy, excuse me, Andy, is there still an existing ordinance for the Marine Commerce Commission?
I believe it was by resolution.
I'll double check.
Are trying to get all the boards done by ordinance. There could be a section, so they can all.
Okay,
Some are done by resolution. Of
course, you would know.
Done by ordinance.
right.
That'd be the reason, ordinance.
Right, okay, thanks, Irene.
okay. So I'd like to clean up this first document, and then we can go to the Marine Commerce Committee summary, okay? So I'm going to go through and you know, so much, we're back to our original document. And so I believe you all have a copy of the original. It would start off with 2 zeros before recommendations to the BOC. Is that what's in front of you?
Yeah.
You have a no on your face over there?
I do have a no on my face.
There you go. Anybody else need that? Did you get one?
Oh, I did have that one.
You have it?
Oh, I
Yeah,
do,
is that
okay.
00?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right,
I
so
do.
I'm going to summarize that we're going to request that the recommendations to the Board of Commissioners take the form of the 7/22/2024 document with the date changed to today's date. which I believe was the 25th of June, 2025. Oh, it's today the 27th? Oh, sorry, never mind. Where am I? 2025. Okay. So the changes that would be made to this original document include deleting if the application is staff and P and Z recommendation for approval, removing that line and ending the statement after the allow P and Z recommendations to be included on this consent agenda to address better use of the BOC, P and Z applications and staff time, period. All right. I recommend that we adopt the changed terminology for the request city maintain CLG status and follow the city's accepted guidelines to changes to our local and national historic districts. And that change was require the city to maintain CLG status and follow the national historic guidelines for our local and national historic sites. And on the last item, revitalize the Marine Commerce Committee, replace the parentheses, see summary with, it's recommended that this be adopted as an ordinance and not in parentheses. Just put a period there and then the statement is we recommend this be adopted as an ordinance, period. And as a Scrivener error, correction, changing GOMEX to Gulf of America.
Well, it wasn't Scrivener's error at the time it was done.
No, I agree.
Okay.
But we might as well be current. And I can provide a copy of this to you in Word so we don't have to do this again. All right. So I'd like a motion that accepts those changes.
Motion to accept.
I have one sort of
Yes.
general question.
I'll second it
You
first.
seconded, all right,
Then
discussion,
we
go
can
ahead.
discuss. Okay. I'm just wondering, and I don't have a dog in the hunt or anything particularly, but should we have an opening paragraph that kind of explains how these came to be and why we're submitting them at this time?
Mike's words? Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Yeah, to kind of, and to make it clear to the BOC that we're not trying to tell them to do this, we're suggesting that they consider these things.
I don't know if I can rephrase what I said, but I'm sure.
Well,
Let's
you're
see.
an attorney, I'm sure you
Well,
can.
yeah, but try to
rephrase
remember
it. Well, it's recorded, you can go back.
There
and
you go.
listen to yourself.
Basically, it was going through this process, and I'll just explain it and however you want to do a preamble or intro into it. I'll let the attorney come up with something like some language for that effect. But during the process of this committee, there were things that were discussed that were not appropriate for a charter provision. However, in looking whether sitting on this committee as a citizen or a member of this committee, there were certain things that came across our desk that were not charter appropriate, but appropriate for the consideration to the city. And so we decided to make recommendations of what we thought the commission may need to, not necessarily in a charter, but whether it's an ordinance or discussion or direction that would benefit the residents or the taxpayers of the city for those commissioners to review. And the marine commerce being, for me, the top of my list. And that's why we came up with these recommendations. Does that make sense? Okay.
Yeah, hold on, I got it written.
Me too.
I could talk real good, but I'm really bad.
Okay, so this is what I got. During the process of our Charter Revision Commission, we discussed items that were not appropriate for charter change, in our opinion. But the commission felt there were a number of items that would benefit the city for the Board of Commissioners to review. And that is the genesis of these recommendations.
Perfect.
Is that sufficient? Okay.
Yep.
All right, would you accept Merle's suggestion for a change with these words to your motion?
I do.
Do you accept the second? Okay, good. Do we have any further discussion on that? No. All right,
Motion to,
motion, yes, we have a roll
Motion
call
to-
on the vote?
Ms. Jennings?
Yes.
Scutis?
yes.
Mr. Seaman?
Yes.
Vice Chair? Chair Rubin?
Did I hear my name?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Moving on. The other thing we had was a summary with our thoughts in terms of what the Marine Commerce Committee should look like. All right, we had a suggested preamble, we had a scope, et cetera. And these were just notes. I did see that on what came from Irene was missing items 6 and 7 in that. That was really the extent of the differences on that. And Joan had a suggestion. So may we go back and look at the original dated 7/22/2024?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
Joan, what was your suggestion?
Item 5 under scope. I think a preferable wording would be to require only non-motorized watercraft be launched in manatee and migration areas. Otherwise, when you read it, it says require boat launch. And to me, it's just kind of jarring. So it would be require only non-motorized watercraft to be launched in manatees, migration areas, blah, blah, and the rest of it is,
Well,
That's item 5, middle page.
it's just reworking the order of the sentence, I think, to make it a little clearer.
our boat launch or managed migration areas.
If you want to say be launched and operated in manatee.
Well, isn't all the enclosed a migration area during certain times of the year? So if that's the case, then you're saying you can't use the river.
Well, that's the way it is now, it's just, it's only changing the order. Like right now, it says require boats launched in manatee be exclusively non-motor. All I did was change the order of the sentence, I didn't
Okay.
change the meaning of it, so then now
Okay.
we're talking about changing the meaning of it.
No,
Yeah, I mean, I always thought this affects the use of the boat lift, the boat launch site at Spring Bayou.
Okay.
And
okay,
that
okay.
section, et cetera.
Oh, you mean, all right, that, it doesn't prevent a boat from
Operating.
operating, but you can't launch a motorized boat, what you're saying, during migration season.
Joan just made a suggestion to change it to launch and operate.
I
Well,
think,
let's put
I
it
think
this way.
launch is problematic because you have limited boat launches in Tarpon, so you would basically be putting anybody wanting to go fishing, let's say out of the tennis courts to launch their boat, which happens all the time. When the manatees are migrating to the bayou, you're basically cutting off that launch.
Although, if we change this to be the aquatic protected areas, I mean, you already have Spring Bayou, that's off limits November through April.
Yeah, I think we need to look at the term specifically
Migration.
I think it's aquatic preserve, actually, perhaps, but then we need to look at the definition of that to make sure we're not completely restricting all use.
Right. Well, this is a summary and a suggestion. I would think when they put the committee together, they would, I mean, this isn't to be adopted directly.
I know. I just would scratch out number 5 for the purpose of that. I think some of that is under state control anyways. I think the state has its fingers in what restrictions in preserves and manatee migration areas as it is.
Why don't we change number 5 instead to say,
Okay.
look at needs for protecting our manatee population, period.
That's good.
That's good. That allows whatever's appropriate then.
Mm-hmm. Did you say?
Hmm?
Could you repeat that?
Yes, look at ways to protect our manatee population. Instead of telling them how to do it, let's have them look at it from a larger
Yeah.
perspective. And that becomes number 5.
Right.
Okay, any other comments on this side? May I request a motion to adopt our Manatee Commerce Committee summary dated 7/22/2024 with the date change to 6/27/2025
And the change.
and include the change of replacing item 5 with look at ways to protect our manatee population
So moved.
as a summary suggestion to the Board of Commissioners.
So moved.
Second.
We got 2 seconds. Find
I'll
it out,
third it.
guys.
I'll third it.
Okay, Mike
Prove it.
seconded it. All right, any other
Again, we're
discussion?
changing GOMEX to GOAM.
Oh, yeah, thank you for catching that. On number 3, we changed Gulf of America. Okay, Merle, would you accept that additional change to your motion?
Yes.
Changing GOMEX to GOAM? And Mr. Second, yes, all right. All right, let's call for a vote.
Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. All right, we have now completed our business on item 3. Item 4, acknowledgements. I want to just say, from my perspective, the staff has been outstanding. Mr. Salzman, you've been steady in guiding us, and thank you for your great insights and all the action items you took and answered for us. I know that's not always easy to try to pick through what 7 people really are trying to ask you. So thank you very much.
Welcome.
Michelle and Irene, outstanding job as always. I hope that, in the greater picture of things, everyone recognizes how important your office and you personally are to the city and how it functions. I'm going to acknowledge I have great appreciation that we had a commissioner here today hearing our discussion, because this is going to be going forward to them. And I think informed commissioners really help the city make the right decisions in terms of city business. And last, you guys have been awesome to work for and with. Awesome. And I'm so glad we wound up having, the 4 of us here today so we could actually make decisions. Anybody was missing, we would not have had a quorum after Mr. Terrapini left. So thank you very much for your time. Anybody else want to jump in here on an acknowledgement section?
I'll second that.
Wasn't a motion.
Say
No, but
it's been a pleasure working with everybody and very educational for someone it's the first time for.
And for me, I'm going to triple echo what was said. I would just say not only was it my pleasure, but I think it was my honor to be able to serve and actually being selected, as a member to serve on a committee. So
I have an older cousin, first cousin, Fran Schrader. She's very wise. And she always told me, she says, if you saw how laws and governments were made and controlled and sausage, you wouldn't want to have a part in either of them. However, I have to say that working on the Charter Revision Commission, we have entertained comments from commissioners, city manager, department heads. We've entertained really thoughtful commentary from the general public. We've had a lot of people come in. I don't remember this the last time, having so much public interaction and discourse with our meetings. I think every one of the individuals sitting on here has brought a unique perspective that has resulted in a set of recommendations that, for the most part, was widely adopted by our city. I know there was some comment about we had too many in there. I don't think so. I think our charter needed to be revised, and I think that the voters agreed with that. Well done. Well done, everyone. Okay, anything else? Yes.
Yeah, I'd also like to say, you know, kind of echoing what John said before he left. We disagreed, but we did it with civility and collegiality. I don't think there was ever any rancor on this committee. Everything got done with, I mean, it was just such a pleasure to serve on this committee. As Mike said, it was an honor, but it was also a pleasure. I really look forward to coming to these meetings because, you know, everybody did bring their own point of view. We've all had different experiences. You know, it was just great. And you know, again, thank you. It's been an honor and fun.
Joe, there's one thing I always tell people, especially, you know, in my profession, I deal with sometimes attorneys who I think are jerks, but I always say you argue with passion, you disagree with grace.
Mm-hmm.
And if people remember that and are that way, then, you know, you have a better result.
Right. I think that's exactly what the mantra was for this group.
So.
It's really wonderful.
Well, I also personally would like to say thank you very much for allowing me to hoist the gavel.
Why we
at these
picked you.
meetings. It's been a great experience.
You get to take the gavel home too.
No, Irene had to borrow this today, so no, I'm not. I have the gavel from when I was Rotary President. I don't need any more gavels. Okay, so there we go. Do we have any further public comments from our public? But you have to come to the microphone.
Getting exercise here today. The only thing I can add to this is I do want to thank all of you for your time. My comment would be it takes a village. And that was what I got to see, because I did see pretty much all of your meetings. I saw the passion of arguing and, you know, as long as we could all come to an agreement, nobody was bleeding, leaving here, so it was all well worth it. And, you know, we do the same thing on the Board of Commissioners. We have passionate, you know, arguing and discussion sometimes, even
Bloodletting.
Are you referring to the Band-Aid? Because this was not, no. But all kidding aside, you know, I do believe that everybody has the passion of trying to make this city better than they found it. And everybody has their own idea on how to do that. And as long as we could all get along and there's no fisticuffs, we're the best city in the world. That's what I would say.
We are the best city in the world.
And thank you.
Mr. Vice Mayor, I
Yes.
do offer my apologies for titling you as commissioner earlier. You are a commissioner, but you are also Vice Mayor, and I apologize for not recognizing
That's
that.
quite all right. I answer to anything, even my name, my title, it's all just a title. But thank you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Board and staff comments. Can I start with Irene?
I just wanted to clarify, so.
Can you microphone it?
Sorry. I just wanted to clarify that I have you tentatively scheduled coming back before the BOC on the 22nd of July.
Yes. Yes, that's when I can be here to do that. Is anybody else around to come and show a sign of support, especially if there's any questions asked?
I'm sure I'll be around.
Okay, yeah, it's
I think I'm
it's the
around,
second
yeah.
one of July. Okay, if you could come, that would be great. If you can't, I'll do my best. Thank you. Michelle? Okay. Mr. Salzman?
thank you all for doing a great job, hard job.
Thank you.
And your dedication was shown on not only what you did before, but what you just did.
Thank
So,
you.
well appreciated.
Mr. Seaman?
I think I already said.
Okay.
I think I said my piece.
I did too. With that, I adjourn this meeting at 11:05 a.m. Live long and prosper.
Georgiana's.